The morning sun had just begun to stretch over the small town of Clearwater, painting the gas station lot in soft daylight when Marissa Cole pulled in, her old beige sedan coughing like it was on its last breath. She had just enough fuel to make it to her shift at the nursing home, her uniform neatly pressed but her spirit exhausted. The last few months had been an uphill battle, 2 jobs, overdue rent, and a teenage son who was trying to stay out of trouble while she tried to hold everything together. She was tired, but she never let the world see her cracks. That's when she noticed him. A burly man in a leather vest covered in patches, his arms tattooed from wrist to shoulder, his beard flecked with gray. The Hells Angels logo glared from his back like a warning sign. His Harley sat next to hers, but unlike hers, it was silent. The man stood by the pump, digging through his pockets, his jaw tight. Something in his eyes looked more than frustrated. It looked defeated. Marissa didn't know why she hesitated. Maybe it was the exhaustion. Maybe it was that quiet whisper inside her that always told her to look past appearances. She saw not a biker, not a stranger, but a man who needed help. Card got declined. She overheard him mutter to himself. Before her mind could stop her heart, Marissa walked over. "Hey," she said softly, her voice calm, kind, unafraid. "Let me get that for you." He blinked at her, surprised. "Mom, you don't have to." "I know," she said, swiping her card before he could finish. "But I want to." And just like that, the pump clicked to life. The biker looked at her, his expression unreadable at first, then softening. "You don't even know me." Marissa smiled faintly. "Doesn't matter. Everybody needs a hand sometimes." He didn't argue. He just nodded, a quiet, respectful nod that carried more gratitude than words ever could. She finished filling his tank, wished him safe travels, and got back in her car. As she drove away, she thought about how strange kindness could be. How it cost her $27 she didn't really have, but somehow made her heart feel full again. If you believe kindness still matters in this world, hit like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Because sometimes, a small act can change more than a life. It can change hearts. Marissa didn't think about it again after that. She worked her shift, came home to her son, Malik, and fell asleep on the couch watching reruns of old family shows. Her life continued in the same quiet rhythm: wake, work, worry, repeat. But the next day, everything changed. It started with the rumble, a low, thunderous vibration that shook the windows before it even reached her street. Malik was the first to look outside. "Mum," he called, his voice trembling between curiosity and fear. There's a bunch of motorcycles out front." Marissa frowned and went to the window. What she saw made her heart skip. At least 20 motorcycles, massive, gleaming machines, lined the narrow street in front of her small home. The noise was overwhelming. A wall of chrome and leather, and standing among them were men and women wearing matching patches, Hells Angels. For a moment her body froze. Fear crawled up her spine. She'd seen the news, heard the stories. Why were they here? She opened the door cautiously, stepping onto the porch. The leader, the same man from the gas station, took off his helmet and walked up to her. His name, stitched on his vest, read Ryder. His eyes, now clear and focused, carried something unexpected: respect. "Miss Cole," he said, his deep voice calm but firm. "I didn't catch your name yesterday. But I don't forget kindness. You paid for my gas when you didn't have to. And I told my brothers about you." Marissa's heart pounded. "You didn't have to." Before she could finish, Ryder gestured toward the bikes. From the saddlebags his crew began unloading boxes, groceries, canned goods, even wrapped gifts. Another man carried a gas can, handing it to Malik with a grin. "For your next trip, little man." Marissa stood speechless. I don't understand." Ryder took a slow breath. "We ride all across the country, and we've seen people turn away, look at us like we're monsters. You were the first in a long time to look at me like I was human. That's something I don't forget. You saw a man, not a patch." The emotion hit her like a wave. Tears welled up, uninvited. "I didn't do it to be remembered." "I know," he said. "That's why we're here." The neighbors peeked through their curtains, some recording, others just staring. The sight was impossible to ignore. 24 bikers standing outside a modest house in a quiet neighborhood, unloading kindness like a convoy of angels with engines. Ryder stepped closer and handed her an envelope. "We took up a collection. Nothing fancy, just a little help. You told me yesterday you worked at the nursing home, right? Maybe this makes things a bit easier." She opened it hesitantly. Inside were hundreds of dollars in cash, neatly folded, and a note that simply said, "Thank you for seeing the good." Her hands trembled. "I can't accept this." "Yes, you can," Ryder said softly. "Because yesterday you gave without asking for anything. Today we're doing the same." Malik came to stand beside his mother, looking up at the sea of leather vests and roaring bikes. "Mom, are they bad guys?" Ryder knelt down to Malik's level, his gruff voice gentle. "Not today, kid. Today, we're just people trying to do something good." For hours, the bikers stayed. Some fixed the loose shutters on her porch. Others mowed her small lawn. A few played basketball with Malik in the driveway. Laughter mixed with the rumble of engines, and for once, the sound wasn't frightening. It was powerful, alive, human. The neighborhood began to come alive too. People stepped out of their houses, some with pies, others with coffee. What started as curiosity turned into community. Marissa watched as strangers talked, laughed, and helped one another, all sparked by one simple act of kindness at a gas station. By the time the bikers began to leave, the air felt lighter, as if the entire street had been washed clean. Ryder was the last to start his engine. He looked at Marissa one final time. "You ever need us," he said, pulling a small card from his vest. "You call. You got friends now." Marissa took the card, smiling through tears. "Thank you. For everything." He nodded, then put on his helmet. The engines roared to life again, one after another, until the sound became a symphony of gratitude. As they rode off down the street, neighbors waved, children cheered, and Marissa stood on her porch holding the card, feeling something she hadn't felt in a long time: hope. That night, she sat at her kitchen table with Malik. The groceries they'd brought filled her shelves. The bills that had once loomed over her felt just a bit lighter. But it wasn't about the money or the help. It was about the reminder that good still existed in unexpected places. She thought about Ryder, about the way his eyes softened when he spoke. She wondered how many people had judged him before she'd met him, how many chances he'd been denied because of how he looked, and how close she might have been to doing the same, if not for that small moment of compassion. "Mum," Malik said quietly, "why did you help him? You didn't even know him." She smiled, her eyes shining. "Because, baby, when you give kindness, you don't always know who'll come back through, but it always does." The boy nodded thoughtfully. "I think they were like real angels." Just louder, Marissa laughed, wiping a tear. "Yeah, maybe they were." Though days passed, then weeks, the story spread through town like wildfire. Local news picked it up. Black woman's keenness inspires biker brotherhood's powerful return gesture. Strangers sent letters, donations, even thank-you notes. But what mattered most to Marissa wasn't the attention. It was the ripple it created. At the nursing home, her co-workers started a Pay It Forward board. Malik's school organized a Kindness Week. And once a month, like clockwork, Ryder and a few of his crew stopped by just to check in. They'd bring donuts, help fix something, or just talk on the porch. What began as a moment of kindness had grown into a lifelong bond built on mutual respect and humanity. One sunny afternoon, nearly a year later, Marissa stood outside her house watering her small garden. The faint rumble of motorcycles echoed in the distance, and she smiled before she even saw them. A few minutes later, Ryder's bike rolled to a stop at the curb. He took off his helmet, his familiar grin spreading beneath his beard. "Still keeping this place looking good," he said. "Trying my best," she replied. "You boys staying out of trouble." He laughed. "Mostly. But it's hard when good folks like you keep setting the bar so high." They talked for a while, sharing updates and laughter. When Ryder finally left, Marissa watched the tail lights disappear into the afternoon sun. Her heart swelled with quiet pride, not because she'd done something extraordinary, but because she'd chosen compassion when it was easiest to look away. And sometimes, that's the real miracle. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your support helps spread stories that remind the world that compassion is stronger than fear and love always finds its way back. Special request: comment below and tell us, have you ever done something kind for a stranger or had a stranger change your day with kindness? We'd love to hear your story.